Hi everyone, welcome to Sattui's Wine of the Month Club cooking demo. Today, we'll be making a favorite of mine, braised pork belly with white bean puree and a toasted garlic Gremolata. We'll be pairing that with our 2020 Grenache. However, any of the wines in our red collection are gonna go absolutely wonderfully with this dish. The spices against the pork fat, combined with the acidity of our lemon, is gonna just absolutely make this pairing sing. Let's get to cooking. So we have our pork belly here. We've had it wet aged. We have a good selection here. We have a nice marbling is what we're looking for. It's about 3.5 pounds. It will shrink as it cooks. It's gonna lose about a third of its size. So if you like, you're more than welcome to score the top of the skin. And what that's gonna do is it's just gonna kind of open up the subcutaneous layer of fat, and it's gonna bring it a little bit more to the surface. Give it a flip, and we'll go back through again. And we're just opening up the fat a little bit. It's going to allow those flavors to penetrate. You can do this one of two ways. You can use sous vide, or you can do it where we're going to braise it in a pan. We have a half 200 right here. I'm just going to add that in right now, and we're going to throw that in the fridge for now. We're going to leave it uncovered so that it can start to air cure in that skin. It's going to make some beautiful pork belly. We're going to start with one of my favorite aromatics, bulb fennel. So we've cleaned up the base. We're gonna leave the root end intact because it's gonna hold it together. But we're just taking off any oxidation. Cleave in half through the root end. From here, we're gonna go through one more time. Into a quarter. Once again, we left the root intact. So from here, flattest surface, and then we're just gonna cut about 1/4 inch strips. And we'll just plane out our fennel. And what we're left with is nice little pieces, about that thick. It's gonna give us a ton of flavor. So we'll go through the other side. We'll do half a bulb. And we're just gonna go on top of our pork belly, some on the side, kind of tuck it in. And we're just gonna use these for their aromatic nature and to flavor our meat. From here, we'll take a lemon, standard Meyer, and we're just gonna take a peeler, and we're just gonna get nice long strips. We're gonna want about 3 to 5 strips worth, roughly. Wanna make sure we don't have any pith on the bottom because the pith will get bitter, and it'll make your whole dish bitter. And if you have any like pith, you can always just take your blade and then carefully scrape to clean until you're left with a nice clean piece. Just like that. From here, we'll add to our dish. More aroma, more flavor. All right, one of my all-time favorite aromatics. We have a shallot, half garlic, half onion, all allium. Get more caramelized they get, the better they taste. So going through the shallot, nice coarse chunks. Right. Once again, into the pot. Finally, we'll do some white onion. You can use yellow onion or red onion, whatever you have on hand, really. The red might be a little spicy. You can always rinse it underwater to help calm that bite. But yellow or white is generally preferred. And we're only going to need about half. So we'll trim that root end. And we're just going to fast julienne through this. Slightly thicker, about 1/4 inch is what we're kind of going for here. Nice thick slice. Once again, into the pot. All right, now we're gonna get into spices. So these are some cloves I cleaned up earlier. We're just gonna add them right to the pot, about 1 head. We have a mix here. We're gonna have some black peppercorn, some fennel seed, a small pinch of clove, just to kind of tie it together. And we're gonna have a couple of allspice berries as well. We're gonna add that to our mix. And that's gonna season and flavor our broth that we're cooking in our braising. The fennel adds a real nice note. And I do love the trace notes of the allspice and the clove. It just gives it some of that nice spice for that Grenache to sink into. To that, we're gonna add a little bit of liquid. You can go with either just regular water, you could do a little bit of wine water. In this case, we have a nice chicken stock. We have about 1.5 cups, 2 cups here. We're just gonna add it to our pan so that we get about 1/4 inch of liquid in the base so that our meat isn't running dry, and we want it to go just about halfway up on our braise. We don't want it fully submerged. We want it just kind of sitting in that broth, getting better and better. We're gonna top it off with regular water so that as it cooks, that flavor just infuses. So now that we have it all ready to go, we're gonna go ahead and top it off with a little bit of parchment paper. Just make sure that our foil doesn't touch anywhere on our dish. That'll just keep it out of the equation, and it'll keep a nice steam seal going for our pork belly. We're gonna crimp it really, really well. Make sure we have a nice tight fit because we don't want steam escaping. We want that all to kind of hold itself together and kind of cook in its own juices. And that's gonna give us really tender, really moist pork belly. All right, we're gonna fire this one low and slow. We're gonna start at about 400, and then we're gonna turn it down to about 325, 350, right around there. And then we're just gonna let it ride the rest of the way after the first half hour. All right, so we've cooked our pork belly until it's nice and tender, just the way we like it. We've transferred it, cleaned off our aromats. Beautiful. Let's take a look. Okay, there we go. Go ahead and go in half. Let's see what we're working with here. Nice. So we have a nice even layer. It's beautifully cooked. It's nice and tender. We're gonna cut nice thick slices. We want to do just about a little more than a ½ inch. There we go. We'll get nice, even slices. You get gorgeous little pieces like that. So we'll transfer back to our pan, and we'll hold until we're ready for service. We'll pick it up just by searing it off in a pan. I love the natural sweetness of pork in particular. It just takes the sugar so well. So for our white bean puree, we'll be using cannellini beans. We bought these in canned and cooked. We're gonna use about 4 cups worth, or about 3 15.5 ounce cans, just like the average size. To that, we're gonna add it into our Cuisinart, our food processor. We're gonna add 1 cup of our chicken stock. That's gonna give it richness and flavor. To that, we're gonna add about 1/3 of a cup heavy cream. And we're gonna kick in approximately like 2 tablespoons of softened butter. We're gonna add that in a la minute. So we're gonna go on. We're gonna add our butter. A little salt to taste. So we got our bean puree, freshly blended. We're gonna go ahead and pass it. By passing, it just means a step of filtration. And what we're doing here is we're making sure we're getting out all of the uneven chunks. And what we're left with is nothing but a fine, smooth puree. It will make it a little bit looser. And so we're gonna go ahead and tighten it up over the stove. Scraping the sides, pushes our puree down. Okay, so now we've passed our puree. And what we're left with is nothing but the fine, fine white bean puree. You can see it's got a very nice texture to it. So we're gonna jump on our toasted garlic Gremolata. We're gonna take about 1 cup of picked parsley leaves, and we're just gonna go ahead and fine chop it. All right, so we fine dice our parsley. Just a nice fine chop. Go into our bowl. To that, we're gonna add about a tablespoon of lemon zest. So what we have here is we have some toasted garlic. You can buy this pre-toasted, pre-fried. I highly recommend it. It's a great component to have in your pantry. We're gonna kind of match our parsley roughly about 50-50. To that, we're gonna add a high quality extra virgin olive oil. We're just gonna add some to moisten it up, about 1/3 of a cup or so. We want it to be a little bit runny, so that's gonna fall off a spoon. To that, we're gonna stir it in. We're gonna add juice of 1 lemon. Filter through our hand just in case there's any remaining seeds. I think we're good, but better safe than sorry. Beautiful. Just a little bit of salt. Call it good. Add about a teaspoon. It's gonna be a great topping to our pork belly. Let's put it all together. Just gonna get a beautiful little crust to our pork belly here. So a nice golden brown color is what we're looking for and chasing here. Beautiful. All right, so our white bean puree has reduced. It's finally at our desired consistency. If it's still a little loose, just go ahead and keep reducing it and give you a nice, beautiful puree. Let's go to plate. All right, we got our white bean puree, we have our gremolata, and we have our lovely seared pork belly. We have a little micro arugula here today. We'll just take some of our puree, nice little dab, and we're gonna go pretty classical on this guy. Just gonna swoosh it. Take our pork belly, go across, intersect it, and we'll just throw one extra up there. And our toasted garlic gremolata, we're just gonna kind of go across. And to top that off, we're just gonna hit it with some micros. And there we have it. Braised pork belly with a white bean puree, finished with a toasted garlic gremolata. All right, now for my favorite part, let's go ahead and give it a taste. So, we have a nice crispy pork belly, nice little sear to it, soft braised meat, get that nice crunchy, crispy gremolata. We have the nice creamy, starchy puree, bringing us back home. The herbaceousness, the acidity, the richness, it's all absolutely gonna sing with our Grenache. One more bite, just to make sure. The toasted garlic carries the dish. The richness of the pork and the natural sweetness ties into the bean. And the tannins are gonna go incredibly well. The fat creates the nice mouth coat, and the acidity of the wine matches the lemon juice and cuts right through it, giving us just a beautiful pairing. It's a classic. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, cheers.